Hey guys, what's up? It's me again, and today is the day of Christmas for Path of Exile. Um, Came early. We finally got the patch notes for the Abyss League. I can't wait. Um, this is probably going to be a long video. I might cut it into two pieces, so make sure to check out the other video. And yeah, let's get into it here and see if we can get through some of these. So a lot of this we already know. Um, we know about all this stuff, the 32 maps that are coming, the Elder stuff. We got the Quest of the Sands. This is a quest obtained by talking to Petrus and Vanja in Act 9 after completing the quest of Stormblade. So now this quest will give you the skill book, and the Stormblade will give you some rare weapons. So that's kind of cool, I guess. There's 48 unique items added. There's 6 new divination cards added, and they're designed by the supporters, which is great. Um, I really love that GG does stuff like that, takes stuff from the supporters and from the community. Some new gems. Most of these we know. Unearth fires a projectile that will pierce through enemies to impact the ground on targeted location, creating a bone archer corpse where it lands. Cremation. Targeted corpse explodes, dealing area damage and turning into a volcanic geyser. We know about that one. The body swap thing looked cool. Let's see if there's any here. Volatile Dead, we already seen that one in action. Basically shoots a bunch of balls out of corpses. We know about the vulnerability stuff. We know about Despair. Storm Barrier sounds kind of neat. Creates a barrier around you while you channel a supported skill. The barrier reduces the physical and lightning damage you take from hits and grants you a chance to gain a power charge. Volley, they showed a little bit. It adds 2 projectiles to the supported skill and causes them to be fired from points to either side of you in parallel. The Nova gem, there's a gem where projectiles will come in a Nova. Doesn't work yet, but apparently they'll be working on it for a future patch. I think they said that with Ziggy D a little bit, that the coding was a little off. It was a little harder to do, I guess. So then we have Spell Cascade. That sounds like a great skill. It does, as they showed in the video, it can overlap twice, once on each side, so that'll be nice. We've already seen the Ancestral Call support. Basically, you take a single target and it pops 2 little totem guys up, and then they attack guys. Oh man. And then they attack guys, so. Then there's a new Dexterity support gem, Mirage Archer. Hitting an enemy with a supported bow skill creates a Mirage Archer who continues to use that skill for a duration. They added some 3D art for Malachi's Mark, Delilah's Malefaction. So basically just a bunch of 3D art they added. That's great. Doesn't affect me too much because I just use microtransactions. I have so many microtransactions, I just make my character look however I want to, but it's nice that they keep adding more and better 3D art. There's a few that I would like to put on the list. Added a new unique strong box designed by one of our supporters. Again, more supporter stuff. And by the way, weapons are a thing that I would like to see a lot better weapons for. Because in the microtransactions even, there's a couple cool ones, but then it kind of feels old just using the same one over and over again. Because there's like maybe 1 or 2 that actually look decent, so... So yeah, I wish they would do a little more with weapons, making them look a little cooler. They added a new Rogue Exile based on the winner of the Best Dressed Exile competition. Alright, then we got the new stuff for the Challenge League. We pretty much know about it mostly. If you haven't heard yet, basically it's a little crack in the ground, almost like a breach, but it follows a more linear path and stuff sprouts out of the ground and you kill the stuff. And then of course once you get to the higher end games, you'll find like an abyssal depth, and there will be a boss encounter. And of course, in higher maps, you can get the Lich boss, which I guess is like the end game of the Abyss League guy. And defeating him is how you get the Abyss unique items. So, yeah, do a bunch of Abysses, especially in maps. Of course, we know about the new Abyss jewels that were coming. Has 40 new challenges. They showed us the challenges a couple days ago. Pretty simple stuff that they've always had. It shouldn't be too hard to get 36 challenges. The 40 again will be just pretty much a grind. You just have to grind it out to get the 40 challenges if you want the totem pole. But I really like the look of the new stuff. The wings are a little lackluster. I feel they should have been a little bigger or something, maybe glow or something like that. But it's free, so it's not too bad. I'm glad that they are coming back with wings again, because I feel that's something that they need a little more of. So let's go over the minor features. The targeting behavior of many skills have been improved, especially against larger targets. So that's nice. Updated item frames to fit the current user interface. Updated the stash chest model. That's kind of cool. I wonder if they changed the guild stash as well. The tutorial has been slightly adjusted to better direct players who are having trouble early game. A lot of the tutorial stuff doesn't really pertain to me too much, but it's nice that they're helping new players, I guess, kind of get acclimated with the game. I kind of felt like the tutorial system, when I actually looked at it, seemed a little lackluster. So it's nice that they're actually like adding a little bit to it to kind of beef it up a little bit, to make it a little easier for newer players to get in the game. Although a lot of times there's plenty of guides and stuff online that you should be able to find anyway, but you know, you want all the stuff in game as well. New keys, so you can open the help panel now. You can now turn in divination cards at Navali in the epilogue town or in your hideout, so that's really nice. And if you haven't got the achievement yet, the achievement actually updates to reflect that. And the Forsaken Masters move back into Oriath and can now be found in the epilogue town, so that's nice. An effect is now played on corpses, which disappeared due to hitting the corpse creation limit for skills like Desecrate and Unearth. Values for ailments such as shock and chill effectiveness can now be viewed in the character panel, so that's nice. Added a system for scaling the visual effects of ailments based on the size of the monster. That's really nice. Make it a lot easier to see that you have an ailment on a certain guy, I guess. Added voice acting for many NPCs and story glyphs that were missing. That's nice. I like the voiceover stuff. It just shows that the stuff isn't like lazily done. They're actually putting work into that stuff. Added images to the map pin hovers for areas added in the Fall of Oriath. Added an option to leave your current party to the character portrait drop down menu. That's amazing. You know, to actually just be able to go up to your character portrait, hit leave party instead of having to go through everything we have to now. Improve the quest reward selection user interface. Added a timer below each flask icon, which while the flask is active displays the remaining duration for that flask. That's really nice. So at a glance you'll be able to look down and see, hey, I got, this many seconds left on my flask. Debuffs are now displayed on a separate line to buffs, flask effects, and charges. So that's nice. Everything will be kind of to where you can glance up and say, hey, there's my buffs, my debuffs. So, auras you have activated that are affecting you are no longer displayed in the buff bar, as the skill icon shows which auras are active. Auras from other sources will still appear on your buff bar, so that's good. Just a quality of life change. I don't need to see that I still have clarity on, when I can just look down at my skill bar and say, yep, I got clarity on. Even though I hide my auroras a lot, it's still very easy to tell with the mana that it reserves and all that. So, and the effects of the auroras around you as well. So, skills with modified cooldowns now show their final cooldown rather than their cooldown modifier. Okay. Monsters will now show their rarity as they're emerging, and that's nice. Especially for Abyss, you'll be able to tell if something easy is popping out, if some trash mobs are popping out, or if a rare or something's popping up. The challenge tabs now displays the number of challenges you have completed at the top. The default minimum for dynamic resolution scaling is now set to 30 frames per second. You can change this in the options menu. Improve the effects for monster rarities and ailments, just so you can tell stuff a lot better. Added support for subsurface scattering. Check out the ice and candles. So that's just a little graphic update. Optimized a lot of skills, areas, monsters, and effects. Continued to incrementally improve the sound, art, effects, and environments. Next we have character balance. Intimidate now causes enemies to take 10% increased attack damage instead of increased damage. So now it's only attack damage. The experience penalty at very high levels has been increased. We already knew this. 95 and above from the nerfs yesterday. Skill balance. Existing vulnerability skill gems are now despair gems. We already know that. Your minions and their minions will no longer deal or take damage while you're dead. So that means if something's about dead and you die, your minions won't kill them, and at the same time the thing won't just kill your minions. So that's good, I guess. Dark Pact no longer... It's also good if you're with a buddy and you die and your minions kill everything, and like if you're running somebody through something, they won't just take all the loot while you're trying to get back to town in softcore. In hardcore, you don't really care if you die. You're dead anyway. But Dark Pact no longer gains bonus radius when using your life. The damage bonus from using your life grows less quickly as the gem levels up, dealing 76% more damage at level 20, down from 95. We already knew that. Detonate Dead now deals spell damage based on the level of the skill gem, in addition to the damage from the corpse's maximum life. So yeah, this is going to do a little bit more damage, and the skill now gains additional area effect radius as it levels, and its base critical chance has been increased from 5% to 6%. The cast time has also been lowered to 0.6 seconds, down from 0.8. So a little buff to Detonate Dead. Raise Spectre now grants additional accuracy to specters based on the level of the gem. Bear Trap and Vol Rain of Arrows now remove all movement speed as opposed to reducing it by 300%. Okay. So it just removes movement speed instead of reducing it. Alright. Raging Spirits now have 15% less added damage multiplier, up from 30%. So instead of doing 30% less damage, now they do 15% less damage. Multiplier, so, better Raging Spirits. Summoned Skeletons now have a 50% more added damage multiplier, up from 30% less added damage. So they did have 30% less added damage, now they have 50% more added damage. That's going to be great for summoners. I really like the summon minion, or the summon mages. That should help them do more damage, I'm guessing, since they technically are skeletons. Raging spirits, spiders created by Aquarius Fang, and the spirit skulls from the essence of insanity can no longer taunt their enemies. The amount of burning damage dealt by the burning ground created by a burning arrow on a character with the pitch darkness threshold jewel is now determined by the level of the burning arrow skill gem. Orb of Storms can now trigger lightning strikes from channeled skills. Desecrate now creates 5 corpses, up from 3. The cooldown has been reduced to 3 seconds per stack, down from 5, and the cast time has been reduced to 0.8, down from 1. Desecrate's maximum corpse level now grows more steadily as the skill gem levels up. It can now create higher level corpses at most levels, except level 19 of the gem, in which the maximum corpse level has been lowered from 100 to 81. So at lower levels you'll be able to get higher level corpses and spawn a ton more corpses, which is great. Lightning Tendrils has been reworked. It's now a channeled skill and deals more damage on every 4th pulse. It has also received a visual overhaul. The new version hits slightly less frequently than the previously, but has higher sustained damage overall. So that's good, because Lightning Tendrils before was kind of like a you power it up and then let it explode type thing, I think. And now it's just channeled and just does damage over time. Minion life support now affects minion life multiplicatively. It now provides 30% more minion life rather than 30% increased life at level 1 of the gem, up from 49% at level 20. Huh, okay. A lot of buffs, I think, to minion builds. Dark Pact now counts as being a minion gem. This will thus interact with the effects such as one found on the Cloak of Thorns Isley. So yeah, it's now a minion skill gem. So apparently Dark Pact took a little hit and now it can be scaled as a minion gem with items. Okay. Ruthless support can no longer support channeled skills. So no Cyclone. Cyclone can no longer be supported by Ruthless support. Okay then. Iron Will can now support Summon Skeleton and will affect the damage dealt by skeleton mages if you are using the Dead Reckoning Threshold Jewel. So you can put Iron Will with your Summon Skeleton, and if you have that Dead Reckoning Threshold Jewel, your skeleton mages will do more damage. That's amazing. Skeletal mages were already pretty decent. I was playing around with them on my summoner. I really liked them. So yeah, that's nice. That could also be nice for if you go a strength build with skeletons. Thinking. Arctic Armor's chilling effect now slows enemy by 30% when you are hit, up from 10%. Melee attacks supported by multi-strike now more accurately take attack range, including area of effect modifiers, into account when checking for targets for subsequent attacks. This has negatively impacted some skills and positively impacted others, but in general, melee skills supported by multi-strike will target monsters that better fit the behavior of the attack. Bladefall's area of effect was wider than intended, close to the caster. The area of effect now better matches the area the blades visually land. The total width of Bladefall's area of effect has been increased slightly to compensate for the now narrower early stages. So basically it comes out like a cone. Stormburst is now correctly modified by factors based on the state of the projectile, such as powerful precisions. Projectiles have 100% increased critical strike chance against targets they pierce. Charge Dash is now limited to a maximum of 15 strikes per skill use, as well as limited by distance traveled. Static Strike's radius has been increased from 19 to 20, bringing its total radius to 24 at gem level 20. Static Strike Explosion now correctly applies ailments with the 40% less effect. Before, it wouldn't use that 40% less effect, so now it's actually working, but it is a higher radius, so... Ice Crash's radius has increased from 8 to 9 for the first stage, from 16 to 18 for the second stage, and 24 to 26 for the third stage. So a little more AoE. Earthquake's radius has been increased from 25 to 28 for the second stage. Reeve's radius has been increased from 17 to 20, bringing it up to 24 gem level 20. We knew about the Wither, and Vol Power Siphon's radius has been reduced to 70 units, down from 120.